Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's event. I'm Laura Dillon from msdynamicsworld.com, and we're here today for a session all about going beyond TMS, a case for third-party shipping management in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. Our presenter today is Chris Morgan, Vice President of Operations at NMB Solutions, and it's my pleasure to welcome him here with us today. So as we get started, know that we do welcome your questions, and you can enter them in at any time during the presentation in the Q&A box that you'll see over on the right side of your event window. And I know that Chris is going to be leaving time at the end to get to as many of those as he can. So without any further delay, I'm going to hand things off to Chris to get us started.
Thank you, Laura. Yes, hello everyone. Again, my name is Chris Morgan. I am going to be going over today the case for actually looking to an ISV for a third-party shipping management solution in Dynamics 365 F&O as opposed to using standard TMS, and why you would want to do this and what are the benefits. I am also going to be explaining some more about the relationship between NMB Solutions and BluJay Solutions. BluJay is a world leader in logistics management applications and networks, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about our relationship with them. So let's get started. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you a brief overview of the parcel shipping world today. I'm also going to explain some more about the partnership between NMB and BluJay. And then I'm going to give you some high-level highlights of the functionality of Parcel for Dynamics 365 F&O. We're going to go through the touch points at the sales order e-commerce level, how it integrates with warehouse management, the packing and shipping functionality. We have a hazardous materials module, and I'll show you a little bit how that works. How to handle charges and labels and compliance documentation post-shipment, and also some of the reporting and BI features that we have in the product. We're going to finish it off with the value proposition, why you would want to look at this, and then I have some information in the end of who to contact for further information. Just so that you're all aware, this is not a full-blown demo. Basically, this is a high-level explanation of the products and why you would use them. We'd be happy to organize a full-blown demonstration for anybody afterwards, and the contact information for getting that will be presented at the end. So the parcel shipping industry today. So we're going to focus on parcel and LTL shipping today because the product that we have built up to now works mainly with parcel and less than truckload shipping. BluJay does offer TMS products for shippers and for 3PLs and forwarders, and we're working on developing the integration for that as well into D365. But today the functionality that we have is focused on parcel and less than truckload. So, according to Pitney Bowes, in the countries that ship the most parcels per volume, parcel volume was up 17% year over year in 2017. They don't currently have 2018 statistics up yet, but I'm pretty sure it would be pretty much the same. The average shipping price for a parcel in the United States is almost $9 compared to $2 to $2.50 in China and Japan. That means that getting the best prices for your shipments is a priority, and that's part of the advantages of a third-party multi-carrier shipping package, and we'll look into that. And Pitney Bowes also predicts that the annual shipment of parcels by 2020 will be over 100 billion, which is a lot of parcels. Some expected trends for 2019. Generally, it's felt that the economy will remain healthy and will lead to more customer spending, which of course will lead to more packages being shipped. One of the big factors is Amazon and the fact that they are developing their own transportation management network, and also hiring lots of small third-party shippers in the end-of-the-line locations, getting packages to the door. So what that's doing is putting a great deal of pressure on companies such as FedEx and UPS to keep their rates lower in order to be competitive. And of course, the expectations of customers that they can get packages same day, especially in the large markets, that's becoming more and more of a reality. So shippers are having to be able to offer that kind of functionality and service to their customers, and it's going to be important for companies to be able to offer that kind of service as customers demand faster access to the products that they're buying online. And that leads to the development of new parcel delivery applications, and a lot of the stuff I'm going to be showing you today about how to be able to have visibility from your shipments, from leaving your dock door straight to last mile shipping and right up to the door of the customer. It's going to become more and more important so that you're well aware of where your products are at any given time. And the last one, the expansion of e-commerce is adding to the strain on full truckloads and less than truckload shipping because people are buying more things online now that they wouldn't have bought in the past, such as refrigerators and stoves, sofas, and even cars. And what's happening there is that because these things cannot go by parcel shipping, distributors are looking to less than truckload and full truckload shipments in order to be able to ship these products, and it's causing a drop in the capacity as there are not enough drivers to get trucks on the road to be able to fulfill all of these orders. So what a third-party shipping application does is it allows you to have access to a number of different carriers and be able to get rates and times for shipments and to be able to choose the best way to go for these kind of larger products. So about the NMB BluJay relationship. Just this past week, we actually had a press release released from BluJay stating that we've launched the Dynamics for 365 F&A product. It actually was launched earlier, but what's happened now is that BluJay has become the sole distributor for the Parcel for D365 Finance and Operations product. That means all sales and all marketing and first level support go through BluJay, and the product has become part of their transportation layer in their global trade network, which I'm going to show you in a little while. What this really means for NMB is it allows us to focus on the development of products and the integration of more functionality from their global trade network and to bring that directly into D365 F&O. So about NMB, we are an AX and D365 F&O ISV partner. We specialize in multi-carrier parcel and LTL integration. We only do AX and D365 FO, and we only work with BluJay. So it's a very specific product and market, but it means that we deliver a great deal of expertise both on the D365 side and on the carrier integration side. We were originally formed as an Exapta before Microsoft owned Dynamics AX, and we've been providing ISV solutions since 2005. The ship carrier framework that was part of AX 2009 right up to 2012 R3 was a product we developed and Microsoft purchased from us. And the packing workbench, which is the focal point of what you're going to see today, is a product we first released for AX4. It's had many iterations since then, but the basic framework of the product is over 10 years old and is solid and robust and has lots of experience behind it. When the TMS functionality was released in R3, We were asked by Microsoft to develop the initial level 200 training documentation for it, and we actually did training for Microsoft staff in Redmond and in Fargo and even in India. And we've been a member of AXUG and the UG group since 2007, and we're a very active member. As a matter of fact, we just got back from Amsterdam this weekend, where we were at the UG Europe presenting our products. So a little bit more about BluJay. BluJay has offices worldwide. They're based in London. Most of their staff and offices are based in North America, North and Central Europe, and in Southeast Asia. This slide says they have over 37 billion in annual commerce. That's actually, I think it's a little old. I think they're up over 50 billion at this point. They have over 1,100 professionals around the world. Their transportation management products handle over, well, just about 2 billion transactions annually. And their parcel solutions ship about 4.5 billion boxes annually. And to put this into perspective, as we noticed earlier in the slides, where Pitney Bowes is saying that by 2020 there'll be 100 billion boxes being shipped, BluJay accounts for about 5% of the total worldwide volume of boxes being shipped, and that's a pretty staggering number, to me at least. And they have about 7,500 customers spread out across the globe. Now, the Global Trade Network is something that they've been working to develop. They have added functionality and purchased companies to integrate this network that basically connects shipping and warehouse processes around the world. And they have over 40,000 connected members that range from carriers and forwarders, suppliers, shippers, and all of these work together within this network. They have warehouse functionality, transportation, commerce, and compliance. And over top of all of this, they have what they call Control Tower. And what Control Tower does is provides visibility throughout their entire network and allows their customers to be able to track anything that's happening within their network from, from the warehouse, if they're using the WMS, straight through to last mile to the door shipping. And as it says here, they're up over $50 billion worth of transactions moved annually. So where do we fit into this? Well, NMB fits into this by in the transportation and compliance slices of their product. At the moment, on the transportation side, we embed a lot of their workflows directly into D365 F&O. So as opposed to a traditional integration where you're just passing information either by ODBC or API to another system, their functionality is built right into D365, and you're operating their product right within D365. And from both the transportation and compliance side, what that allows us to do is provide the functionality not just at one step near the end of the process, but it's embedded throughout the sales and supply process within D365. So that being said, Parcel for D365 is a solution, not a framework. When you purchase this product, you get the full integration, you get BluJay's experience and their product integration at the back end, as opposed to having to code carriers in or find some other group to help you with that. It's all built into the product already. If it's not already built into the product, it's a matter of setup, not a matter of recoding to get the product to do what you need it to do. It's available on AppSource. It's certified by Microsoft. It conforms to the update schedule and the one version model that Microsoft is implementing. And as it is a subscription model, as new functionality becomes available within the module, that functionality will be made available to the customers, and they can decide to use it as they wish. And because, again, as I mentioned, our new relationship with BluJay and that they're distributing the product, we get to focus on doing the development of the application and expanding its functionality. Today it does parcel and LTL shipping, rate shopping, AES, denied party screening, compliance documentation, and hazmat. But coming in the near future, we're going to integrate their TMS for shippers and for 3PLs. The plan is to bring their control tower into D365 as a power app, to have customs integration and more. So I'm going to give you a high-level view of the functionality of Parcel for D365. Again, it's not a full demo. If you would like a full demo, we can arrange that at a later date. Be happy to do so. So as you can see, Parcel for D365 is a full-blown module within Dynamics 365 F&O. It's called Shipping Management, and from here, everything, all the setup is done via parameters. You have access to all of the transactional information or the periodic information that you would need access to directly from within D365. Essentially, we've brought all of the functionality of BluJay Parcel right inside D365, so a customer never needs to go to another interface or another product in order to be able to use the functionality. So the process starts right at the sales order or quotation order level, or if you're using e-commerce from the shopping cart, you're able to actually access Parcel's rate shopping and shipping service selection from a point of sales device or from a shopping cart or from a sales order. If we look at it from the sales order point of view, you have a sales order. Up at the top, you can do a rate shop directly from the sales order. So if someone's on talking to a customer, they can get the rates immediately based on what the customer is looking for. When you click on the rate shop button, it opens up a rate shop screen. On the top right, you can see that there are pre-configured choices for searching for the rates. So that can all be set up, whether you just want to ship air or all or domestic. So once you've made your choice on the top left, the system will return all the rates that are available to you, and based on the carrier, it'll bring back the rates, it'll bring back the delivery date and delivery time if that information is available from the carrier. The next part that we have integrated right up front in the D365 process is denied party screening. From here, you can actually access this from several places. You can have it tied directly to the customer master. So when an address is entered in the global address book, it will check right away to see if that person is on one of the denied party lists. It can be done at the sales order level. It can be done on the packing workbench or even just before sending out the shipment. And to give you an idea what that looks like, basically, BluJay manages this, and they manage it with over 20 of the major lists around the world. And essentially, what they do is it matches via different ways. It can match via direct word match or sounds like. There are different ways that it will check against the lists. If it comes up with a result and it finds something, you have various options at that point. You can either whitelist that, like if it's somebody you know is fine, and you can actually change that setting and say, no, this person's fine, we can ship to them. If you do that, it actually keeps an audit log and will track any of those changes that are made. So if it comes back later that might have been a mistake, you can tell when it was done and who it was done by. You can also create your own lists, either white lists or black lists of customers you don't wish to ship to, but it also works against many lists across the globe. This particular one here is a United Kingdom list, but there are many others from across the globe. Now, the warehouse management integration, we integrate with both standard WMS and advanced warehousing. And in the case of advanced warehousing, it's fully integrated to the standard functionality. So on the picking side, your work flows through the load planning workbench. Work is picked based on wave and handled as a standard picking. And once it's picked, the work gets transferred to the packing workbench. And I'll show you how that works. In terms of standard ware, if you're using WMS, when a pick list is posted, the work gets transferred to the packing workbench. And then we have built an order consolidation module, which basically allows you to consolidate your orders based on several different criteria, including customers, carriers, whatever, in order to get you the best shipping rates based on how you wish to ship your product. The packing workbench is the heart of our product, and the packing workflow has been optimized over 10 years to significantly reduce the steps required to ship parcels and pallets. That's what it does best, and I'll show you that in a moment. The workflows can be configured to handle simple pack and ship, just throw everything in a box and ship it out the door, or you can have complex scenarios where it's all pre-configured by boxes, so the system knows that a certain number of items can go into one box, a certain number of boxes can go onto one pallet, so you can hit a quick pack button and basically it generates all the boxes it needs for the shipment that you have and all the pallets that it needs. The system handles packing serialized or batched items. You can scan the serial number and it will follow it through into the box and then onto the shipping documentation. It can handle shipping options such as blind shipping or third-party shipping, and also handles hazardous material shipping and the creation of hazardous materials labels and documentation. For customers in the U.S. that are shipping overseas and the orders are over $2,500, they need to go through the U.S. Census Bureau and get an AES filing number. That process has been automated so that when a shipment comes in and it has to be filed for AES, we're tied into BluJay's AES filing system. It sends that request out to the government, gets an ITN number back within less than a minute, and can continue down the normal shipping flow, which means you don't need a separate shipping process for those orders, and you don't need to use a third party to do it. And then, of course, it also handles printing shipping labels and compliant documentation. So this is the packing workbench, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go go clockwise from the bottom left. In the bottom left, there are the items that are on the sales order that need to be packed. In the top left, you have the shipment details, and this is where you can look at or change anything to do with the mode of delivery, the carriers, whether you want to use blind shipping or delivery confirmation, whether you want to put in insurance, or whether it's a hazmat shipment. On the top right are the box details. So as you can see in this particular case, this is the WHS version. So it automatically created the containers based on the boxes. And like I say, it uses standard functionality. So it uses containerization, but instead of you having to do that yourself, the packing workbench handles all of that so that the information is tracked properly in WHS. And on the bottom right are the items that are currently within the box, and you can go in and drill down on those items to see what they are. Basically, everything to do with the shipping process happens from the screen. You don't have to go anywhere else. It's also fully, it uses your RF devices. If you're doing it that way, you can scan everything. It's also touchscreen enabled so that you can be using touch screens on the shipping floor. But everything is right here on this page. You're not having to go through multiple screens to do your shipping. So once a shipment is actually processed, if your printers are all configured with your labels and it uses standard Microsoft print management, So if your label printers are configured and other documentation is being printed, all that gets printed out, but it also all comes back in to the shipment. And what that means is you can always go back and look at any of the documentation or labels that were going with the shipment, or if for any reason you need to reprint them, you can go back in and reprint any of those documents. So samples of the labeling. So these are parcel labels and a parcel packing slip that's produced by the system for FedEx and USPS and DHL. For LTL, you get a fully populated bill of lading and the shipping labels. And then, of course, compliance documentation if you're shipping internationally. This case, we're showing Canada to US, so you have a commercial invoice, Canada Customs invoice, a shipper's letter of instruction, and certificate of origin. Of course, these documents, depending what country you're in and where you're shipping to, those documents would be configured within your system so that you're printing the right documents and they have the right information on them. We also have a full-blown hazardous materials module within D365. Basically, what this allows you to do is at the parameter level, you can configure an overall setup for your company's hazmat based on IATA 49 CFR and DOT. But then also in your actual item master on any item in your inventory, you can configure the hazmat information for that item. And so that if that item, if you're a manufacturing firm and you're building things and some of the items are hazmat and some aren't, when a product actually gets built, when it goes to ship, the packing workbench will know that there are elements within that product that are hazmat enabled, and therefore will only give you back carrier and service selections based on whether or not they can ship hazmat. And then, of course, also you'll be able to print hazmat specific labels and the compliance documentation you need for hazardous materials shipment. So when we look at the packing workbench, if an order comes in and it has hazmat enabled products items in it, on the top left, you'll see in the shipment overview that it is a hazmat enabled shipment, and you can actually, if you look at the bottom right, you'll see that the items are hazmat enabled. You can go into that particular item and it'll show you what it is. When you click on it, it'll show you what the regulations are. This one is printing ink. It'll tell you all the information about it. And you can override this if you had rights at the packing workbench level. If you had the security level, you could go in and make changes here. Otherwise, this information would pass through to the documentation that will be printed. So when you go to ship it, it'll print the dangerous good information on the shipping label. It'll provide the shipper's declaration and any other labels that are required on the hazmat side. So at this point, the shipments are done and the information now comes back into D365, and what we record right off the bat is we record the shipment charges, the tracking numbers, and we bring in all the labels and documents and store that all within D365. It will then generate accrual journals that are posted so that you're able to reconcile charges in the future when the invoices come in from your shipping carriers. We also provide pre-invoice markup markdown options, allowing you to adjust the charges that would actually go to your customer, and I'll show you that in a moment. We have a carrier invoice reconciliation module that allows you to bring in the invoices from your carriers and compare against your expectations. I'll show you that screen. And then we have reporting and business intelligence options, and I'll show you a few of those. So for the markup markdown, basically what you can do before an invoice is produced for your customer is that you can adjust the charges that are coming in from your shipping carrier. So you can, based on either destination, shipping carrier, carrier service, or even a specific customer, you can adjust the charges, either the core charges, handling, fuel, or ancillary, and you can adjust them in several different ways. Like if you had a customer you didn't want to charge shipping for, you could just essentially do a flat rate of 0 across all of the charges, and they would not get charged for shipping. Or you can add either by percentage, by amount, which is in addition to whatever your carrier is charging. So if your carrier was charging $2 core charge and you added $3, it would be a $5 total. Or you can set a flat rate, which is just no matter what the carrier is charging, you would just be charging $5. And you can adjust these in all these different categories. It gives you a great deal of flexibility, and whatever is set up here is what the charges will look like when it goes to the actual invoice for the customer. In terms of carrier invoice reconciliation, if you can get back your carrier information in an electronic form, so either if it's an EDI invoice or if it's a CSV file or something, you can import that carrier invoice and then compare it to your expected charges. And you can even set thresholds here so that the system automatically knows that if it's under a 5% difference between the two, then to let that go through. If it's over 5%, then somebody has to give approval or has to reject. They have to perform some operation on that particular charge. So it allows you to control and have visibility into what your carriers are charging you compared to what your expectation is. From the reporting side, there's a couple of things. We have a workspace built so that shippers can actually have a direct view into what's going through their system. Again, this is all configurable, but in this particular case, basically it's showing you what's on the daily view for what needs to be shipped out and what's behind schedule. It also gives you access to the packing workbench or creating sales orders and shows you some of the costs, and this is all can be drilled down through. And of course, then we also have some Power BI reports that are built. Again, there are many, but here's an example, of shipments by carrier or shipments by service. And again, you can drill down into these and get more information. And it provides you visibility into how your shipping processes are actually working. So the last step for me here is to give you the value proposition, why we think this is a worthwhile thing to do. Basically, like I said, Parcel for D365 is the first multi-carrier parcel solution in AppSource. But not only that, it's a product that's been around for 10 years and has a lot of support and development behind it, and is solid. BluJay is one of the world's leading providers of transportation and compliance solutions, and have recently been recognized by Gartner as one of the top providers of these solutions. I'm not even going to try to read that out, but they're in the Magic Quadrants, and they work with SAP and Oracle and the major ERPs. But honestly, I believe that with the integration that we've developed, that within D365, we bring out more power of their products than you can do in a traditional implementation. And it really, it brings it to a whole nother level. And because this is a module and because it is configurable and not programmed, the implementation times and costs are significantly reduced. Even if you're using carriers that are outside of their 50 or 60 ones that are already built, they have a universal carrier module that allows you to configure carriers as opposed to coding them, and then they get tied directly into D365, and it all happens very quickly, and it's cost effective. So what we're able to provide is a turnkey solution on the shipping management side, as opposed to trying to configure something, build it, bring in consultants to get it done. So as I said, BluJay handles all of our sales, and Cheryl is the person in charge. So if you do have any questions or you would like to set up demonstrations, you can contact her, and that's her information. If you want to know more about the products, the BluJay and NMB websites are there, and you can follow us on social media for any new information that's coming out. And that's pretty much it for today. And so now I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great, Chris. Thank you so much. We do have some questions that have come in, and if you do have some that you haven't had a chance to write in, go ahead and type those in now. I'm just going to look through and I'll and I'll read them out for you. A question came in earlier that says, what is the purpose of workflows? What kind of process is managed through workflows?
So the workflows, basically, if you have standard packing, so for example, if you're the easiest one is if you're selling things like televisions that are already pre-packed. You can set up the packing workflow in such a way that it will not pick additional boxes. It'll use the pre-packed box, and then it will know on the pallets, if you're shipping pallets, how many of those pre-packed boxes can go on a pallet. So when you hit the quick pack button, it will just automatically generate the number of boxes that are required and then the number of pallets that are required, and put those on the pallets. So that, and that's just one example. You could have set up in your system boxes that are a certain size, and you have items that are always going to use those boxes. So it might be 4 items can fit inside that box. So instead of having to create boxes every time and put 4 items in it, you can have it set up to quick pack, so it'll just automatically create the boxes and put 4 items into those boxes. It just speeds up the packing process significantly.
Okay, another question says, party screening is interfaced with a third software?
Yes, it is. Again, BluJay, what we do is all of our products are interfaced with BluJay modules, and they have the denied party screening module. They maintain it. They have a whole group that's what they do. So when a request is made through D365, it hits against their lists that are maintained and then provides that information back.
And then, excuse me, what are other criteria of consolidation? Item, category, hierarchy, i.e. dangerous goods?
I'm afraid I'm going to have to defer on that one. I can get whoever wants that. I can get them a list, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, well, I will get you the name of the person that's asking that, and you can follow up with them directly after this. How's that?
Sure, happy to do so.
Excellent. Let's see. How are new carriers added and price tables updated?
So it depends heavily on the carrier. New carriers are added. Well, first of all, there are 50 to 60 carriers that already exist within Parcel. New carriers are added via what is called the Universal Carrier Module. It's a module that allows you to configure the carriers, and instead of having to program them, you configure them into Parcel. Then The key value pairs that allow us to transfer information back and forth are added into the D365 module, and then the carrier is available. But again, the question of how the carrier works is heavily dependent on the level of integration that carrier has, in terms of whether they're using web services or if they have an API to communicate back and forth. But you can add carriers even if they're just giving you an email with their rates. You can add that and enter in the rates manually if you need to. There are a bunch of different ways depending on the carrier.
Okay, here's another question. It says, could you tell us about the main benefit of your asset compared to the standard TMS module?
Well, there are a couple of benefits. I mean, as I say, one of the biggest differences between the standard TMS module and our product is that our product is already fully fleshed out. So when you purchase the product, you get all the carriers that are already built in. We already have the workflows set up, and all the compliance documentation is already created, so all of this is already done. So you're getting a solution that you can implement quite quickly. Depending on the size of the company, it can be implemented in less than 3 months. So that's one of it. And the other solution, especially on the other reason, especially on the parcel and LTL side, is that our product is extremely streamlined to manage parcel and LTL shipment. So that we've done this before in terms of comparing against the TMS, using TMS to do parcel shipments, that the number of steps, like we use a quarter of the steps to produce a shipment than would be used in standard TMS.
Okay, here's another question. Is it possible to define rates of route based on packed containers, volume, weight, value of goods?
Yeah, that can all be configured. It's just that's entirely up to a customer to decide how they want to define that.
Okay, let's see. Here's one. Does integration with U.S. Postal out of the box?
Yes.
Okay, and the follow-up to the question about the benefits of your asset compared to TMS, do you mean that the setup is less painful than in the standard TMS?
Significantly less painful, yes. And as I say, we wrote the TMS documentation, training documentation, and I've actually done seminars at the UG events on doing parcel shipments through TMS, and the question I usually get at the end is there a better way? And yes, there is. We have a better way.
Okay. And then how robust is the BOL feature?
So the BOL feature it's not independent of AX. So D365. Basically, we're adding the information, the hazmat information, to the item master. So it's using standard bill of lading functionality within D365. All that's happening is that the items being added to a bill of lading. Sorry, I misunderstood the question. I was thinking BOM and not BOL. So can you repeat the question? Sorry.
No, that's okay. It just said how robust is the BOL feature?
Well, the BOL feature is all handled again through BluJay Parcel, and their bill of lading functionality is extremely robust. They use it across the world. So, I mean, I don't entirely understand the question. Like, do they want more, like, how much detail is put on the bill of lading or how accurate the information is? I'm unsure exactly what they want to know.
Okay. Well, if they want to clarify on that, I'll take a look
yeah,
over here
and
on
again,
that.
if they would like to get more information on that, I can provide, they can contact us and we can provide it.
Excellent. Another question, is there a list of countries supported to be able to ship out of available?
Yes.
Did you provide that separately?
We can provide that separately. It's pretty extensive.
Excellent. There's a lot of questions. I'm trying to sort through them, so bear with me. Do we have screens to see the pricing of routes and maybe to create a quotation from that screen?
So if you're talking TMS routes, we're not doing TMS at this point. So we're doing parcel and LTL shipping so that it wouldn't be route based.
Do we have a reconciliation? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Do we have a reconciliation between estimated rates and real cost of transportation from suppliers?
Yeah, well, that's what the carrier invoice reconciliation was at the end there. You can bring in the actual invoices from the suppliers, and you can compare them against what your expected rates were when you made the shipment. And again, you can automate that whether you accept within a threshold of difference or not, or you can actually manually go through every single one.
Okay, let's see. Are delivery dates backfed into D365 via the tracking number?
No. At this point, the way the tracking works, and we are looking to expand it, but at this point we bring in the tracking number and it's associated with the shipment, or however many tracking numbers are associated with the shipment, and then we have a link directly to the carrier's site in order to get more information about that shipment.
Okay. How easy is it to add additional carriers that are not currently part of the Parcel product?
Okay, so what we have is we have what they call the Universal Carrier Module, and it's designed to bring in information from any new carrier that you wish to add to the product. And again, there are many different ways that can be done depending on the level of sophistication at the carrier, whether it's a web service or an API or CSV files or whatever it happens to be that they provide, and you can add that carrier in to the product. It's not coding, it's configuration.
Okay, and then does the module support on-premise installations of D365 FO?
The module does support so our product is, it comes through Lifecycle Services. It can be added to any D365 implementation. BluJay's Parcel product can be either a hosted solution or it can be located on-premise. That's entirely up to the customer.
Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap up here. If there was a question that came through, I'm sorry, there were a couple that up in the chat area that looked really specific. We'll make sure that Chris has your contact information to follow up with you directly if we did not get to your question or answer it to your satisfaction. Chris, thanks so much for your time today. We did record today's event, and we'll be sending that out and making that available to everyone. And we really appreciate your time and attention today, Chris. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.